Which propaganda effort was so successful, people still believe it today. Many Korean people believe that fans can cause death. Even my mother, who moved to America in her mid-teens, still prohibits me from leaving a fan on overnight for fear of death. There is a conspiracy theory that the South Korean government spread this myth as propaganda to prevent energy overusage, but its origins are unknown. It's strange that many Koreans believe this myth considering it is one of the most technologically advanced countries. That teeth are supposed to be perfectly white. This is one of the biggest scams by dental care companies, I believe. They must be making a fortune selling whitening toothpaste which really doesn't do anything different from other toothpaste. That if you ask if someone is a cop, if they are a cop they legally are required to say yes they are. Of course they aren't required to. That defeats the entire purpose of working undercover. That monosodium glutamate, MSG, is harmful. If such analogy were ever possible, it has never been proven. You'd literally die because it means you're either allergic to sodium or glutamate, which are in almost every single food or drink known to man. That Listerine invented the term halitosis for bad breath. They didn't. It predates them by decades. It's just something that sounds nice to say because you get to attack a big corporation. MSG occurs naturally in so many foods: tomatoes, broccoli, mushrooms, potatoes, corn, peas, clams, oyster scallops, cured ham, green tea, grape juice. That the old woman who sued McDonald's over burning herself with her coffee was just money hungry. Yeah, she had third-degree burns in slash on her genitalia. She originally requested that they pay her 5-figure medical bills. They stonewalled. She sued and it was the judge who decided to make an example out of them, since it was proven that they has been purposely selling near boiling cups of coffee to discourage refills despite being warned that this was unhealthy and that the cups were not made to hold liquids that hot. The lie that nuclear power is terrible. It is worse than renewables. However, instead of chucking huge quantities of dangerous waste into the air like a coal power plant, it can all be contained, and 95% can be reprocessed into new fuel. In the 60s and 70s, a lot of oil giants used advertising to link its reputation to the very real danger of nuclear weapons, and if this hadn't have happened, global warming would have been much less of an issue. Very few people realize that coal power actually causes more deaths per MW than nuclear power due to nitrous oxide emissions, even when Chernobyl is included in the statistics. That vaccines do more harm than good. Vaccines cause adults. That AIDS was engineered in an American lab. It was a lie created by the Soviets to create distrust among some populations toward the US. To this day many Africans or Middle Easterners believe it. The Armenian genocide never happened. My Turkish friends still believe this. That asbestos is safe. Most people in the first world realize asbestos is toxic, but there are still many places, includes asbest, Russia, that consider asbestos perfectly harmless. People around the world are still being fed lies, and no matter how you feel about Trump, Scott Pruitt's EPA has further deregulated the use of asbestos, undoing Obama's plans to ban the mineral completely and safely remove it from homes. It is true that Donald Trump's face is on pallets of Russian asbestos. Many people still believe asbestos is harmless despite evidence, and I'm guessing we might actually see a rise in this belief soon. That women have to shave their legs, armpits, etc. Razors weren't being sold enough, and so the razor companies shot out an ad towards women that showed a woman using one and said that smooth legs are more desirable or whatever. Women had never widely considered the idea of shaving, and men had never had an issue with it before those ads. That the US moon landing may have been fake. There is simply no way it didn't happen. The Soviets would have known it was faked and immediately called the US out on it, discrediting it within weeks. It wasn't until over a decade later that the USSR started planting the propagandist notion that the moon landing was fake, and some clowns over here actually bought it. In order to hide the development of radar technology from the Germans during WWII, the British intentionally spread a rumor that eating carrots improved eyesight. The idea was that the Germans would believe the British had more effective night vision due to eating carrots, allowing them to shoot down German planes at night, rather than that they had developed new technology that allowed them to detect the planes earlier. That fat-reduced food is better than normal/low sugar food. Some decades ago the sugar industry made up a crusade against fat, saying it is worse than sugar because they were in fear of losing money due to movements of people who wanted to live healthier. And because you need a lot of sugar to make fat-reduced stuff taste good, they launched studies that worked in their favor, saying that fat is unhealthy and dangerous. It worked. Even today there are a lot of fat-reduced things, even if studies have definitely shown that sugar is worse. The nearly irrational fear of cholesterol is also a result of this. Yes, it's not really good for you, but not as bad as many people think. That wolves are terrifying, bloodthirsty creatures that will sneak into your home and eat your grandmother. This myth was invented by the Regency in the late 15th and early 16th century, so that commoners would hunt and kill wolves, meaning that there would be more deer for them to hunt in parties. Wolves are still extinct through most of Europe. In reality, while you wouldn't want to pet a wolf, they are like most other wild animals. If you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. That diamonds are rare and justifiably expensive. De Beers created an ad campaign to sell America on the concept of the diamond engagement ring in the 1930s. They have a monopoly on the industry and create a false sense of rarity by releasing only small batches into circulation at a time, thus making diamonds appear rare and worth much more $. When Edward Bernays, the father of public relations, literally renamed propaganda that we want people to think is not bad to public relations and advertising, and he literally admitted it in a book he made called Propaganda. Propaganda is, quite literally, just media that is attempting to persuade you. It might be honest or dishonest, but, no matter what, it is still propaganda. That breakfast is the most important meal of the day and that there are certain foods that are breakfast foods like pancakes, cereal, bacon, etc. Heads up friends, that is all the result of a seriously successful marketing campaign. Organic food is healthier and uses less pesticides. GMOs are bad. Organic foods use more and probably more harmful pesticides than standard agriculture. Organic food takes more land to grow the same amount of food, so it is less efficient. There is no evidence that GMOs are bad for you, and lots of evidence that they would be saving thousands of children from vitamin deficiencies. Primarily vitamin A, I believe. If the scaremongering was not so successful, screw the organic food lobby and other healthy food trends. That Napoleon was short. He was average height for the men of his time, but the British, especially cartoonists, portrayed him as small as a propaganda tool, making him look less powerful. Apparently in the 80s KFC ran a Christmas themed ad in Japan, and to this day the Japanese eat KFC on Christmas. When I was in Japan on Christmas, I won some dumb quiz at a party and they gave me fried chicken, because they believed that was our traditional Christmas food. It was ridiculous, and it is one of those really odd memories of mine. That big curvy line of toothpaste with a Dairy Queen curl we've seen in every toothpaste ad. You don't need more than a pea-sized smear of paste on your brush. Drinking fountains are unhealthy. The bottled beverage industry commissioned and publicized a series of studies in the early 1990s when they decided to get into the bottled water business. The problem was that their largest competitor was free and available in schools, parks, and public buildings everywhere. Anyone who took even a semester of biology knows that if you walk around and swab and culture anything, you'll find that it's covered in bacteria. That's ecology on planet Earth. Thank you for watching Internet's Funniest. Please like, share, and subscribe.